of an inch wide. Some have been.
Okay, take a rough shot. Hello and welcome to Porridge. Our list for today is the top 8 biggest dress code violations. Number 8, tube tops. Number 7, socks and nothing else. Number 6, Madonna wear. Number 5, fishnet tank tops. Number 4, Daisy Dukes with holes. Number 3, edible clothing. Number 2, pleather midriff. And the number 1 biggest dress code violation is anything worn in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Porridge's special guests for today are Sophia and Branen, and they are here to discuss Jane Austen and co-ed rooming.
I think one of the really big questions today is how literature relates to today's society. A lot of people see this century as a break-off, but actually I think Jane Austen has a lot of pertinence to us because a lot of our traditional values actually come from the society which Jane Austen lived in. I think a really good example is where this girl and this guy have run off in the story of Pride and Prejudice, and there's a really big scandal because they lived together before they got married. And I mean, this is like, and the question is, how do you tell, if it's okay if, two people live together? I mean, does that necessarily mean they've done anything just because they live together? And I think this is a really relevant question to our society.
A real big problem in today's society is that you assume just because you put a guy and a girl in a room together, that means that they are going to become public affiliates with one another. It's not always the case, but it's if you look at it, and as Sophia's pointed out, you can see from classic literature that for a long time this has always been a stereotype inherent in society, and we're wondering why is that, and why do people still hang on to such outdated ideas?
I don't know. I think one of the really big themes is that, we see, they stereotype women in Jane Austen as being so weak. Women are weak-minded people who are basically they're going. They have no power. They have no life beyond that of who their father is and who their husband is. So they're thinking that if they're not around their family, they're not around good company, they're going to get laid by somebody, which is really just it's really out of it. But we've really inherited this attitude that this a guy and a girl can't stay together without just being just without any self-control. It's like if there aren't the traditional values like watchdog around them, they're going to just go off on a rampage. And I think this is a really big moral crisis in our country.
Well, I think that that all this, what you pointed out is really good, and it's insane that that this big mass social phobia of co-ed rooming still exists, because in the age of women's power and it's insane because women are no longer treated as weak individuals. They're treated as they should be, as people. And by the same method, guys are no longer some guys are no longer treated as total what's the word I'm thinking of here? There we go. Sort of buffoons, I guess. It's a bad word, but I cannot think of anything better. But still, it's insane. there must be something deeper rooted in our culture that there must be something deeper rooted in the culture that is prohibiting us from moving forward in our ideas of what is acceptable in living conditions and what isn't, as far as whether or not you're living with a person of the same sex or the opposite sex. It doesn't make sense to keep single sex rooming as the only available option.
Yeah.
Now that society is finally starting to open its mind.
I think one of the really big things is like reputation, especially, in a society where a lot of your image is dictated by reputation. I mean, like after these two people run off in this book, it's like, oh, this is horrible, this is scandalous. They have like no self-control. And it's like later on, somebody tells one of the girls' older sisters, like, your whole family's ruined. You can't marry anybody good. You stink because your sister ran off with this guy and spent a couple weeks with him. It's like, it's all this is all reputation based. And I mean, this shows, how short-sighted people are. It's like they can only look at like, what acceptable actions you're doing, what your, how your family acts, and like if you don't meet the old values, it's like you're just eliminated, your reputation's ruined. If you hang around people like that, your life's just, if you reject traditional values, like all the people that stay around you are like automatically rejected too. I think we need to break this mold and like start seeing people for who they really are.
Yeah, that's a big problem in all of society. Just trying to look past the actual, trying to look past all the hype and looking at the actual person. That is a huge problem that is inherent in almost everything. But going back to what you were saying about the ideas about people's reputations being easily tarnished just by rooming with a member of the opposite sex, isn't that almost saying that people are afraid of co-ed rooming because they are afraid that they themselves are too irresponsible to handle it? So is it almost as if society is saying, well, it's almost as if people are saying that they're not willing to take the responsibility to be civilized in a co-rooming situation, and that's why everyone's afraid of it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are frightened because, we like see people, as it's like if they can't follow the straight path, it's like they're going to give into their primitive instincts. And I mean, that's not necessarily true. It's not like either, you follow this prim way, or you either just go and, just act like a bunch of dogs or something. Not since only dog lovers. But I mean, it is possible, for, I think, society to open its mind and understand and accept the fact that, people of opposite sex, don't have to necessarily, define this. I mean, if you throw two people, I mean, are we going to assume then, like, for example, all right, we're saying we're having single sex rooming right now. I mean, for example, when people go on, say, for example, academic competitions, the coaches do not throw a boy and a girl in the same room, lest, they wreck their reputations when they come to school. Everyone's going to say what a bunch of sluts they are. I mean, how can we be sure, like in today's society, that, that if, two guys were to live together, that they're not homosexual? I mean, we don't assume that, and we shouldn't. And similarly, it's just an injustice to assume that if we throw a guy and a girl together, that, they're not going to do it. And
not to cut you off, but you do have a very good point, because one of the things that we're ignoring in this entire discussion behind code rooming is it is not a given that everyone is heterosexual, because there are homosexuals out there, and you still have single sex rooming there. And if people, when you throw, and this, I don't have any statistics to back this up, but when you throw a guy and a girl together, isn't there as much chance of them getting on with it as if you're to throw two guys together? I mean, it's still you cannot guarantee that two people are going to be responsible together, but then of course you cannot guarantee that they won't. And really, limiting it to single sex rooming is not going to help it. If you really want to be so dictatorial and guarantee that there's no chance that two people are going to have any kind of physical intimacy with one another, then you separate them.
yeah.
But Otherwise, if you're going to have grooming shared with beyond one person, you shouldn't. I mean, it's sexual discrimination. It's sexual discrimination. That's all it is.
If we're gonna, tying this back to Jane Austen, this is like one of the really big themes we get from Jane Austen is that when like this, for the most time, if we have guys and girls having conversations, it's like, the guys have to dominate everything. What they say isn't true. And in this story, Pride and Prejudice, the leading female role tries to break this. She tries to show, well, I'm just as good as you are. I'm just as smart as you are, and I can have just as good a conversation as you are. I mean, like, we see, for example, like, when they go to the balls, it's like, it's like the guys, like, they get to ask the girls, they get to choose what they want. And it's like, girls are just like, they're control freaks. And it's like, and yet it's like when they like put, like, say, two guys together and having a conversation, it's like both of them are like on equal terms. So, no one's going to overpower somebody in any sense. And similarly, when two ladies are together, they'll talk about fashion and stuff. Nobody's going to dominate the conversation. Nobody's going to dictate you dance with this person just because it's good manners or anything like that.
It's really a good point. I guess we need to wrap it up, but really what you're saying, it's really all true, and it's a big problem in society, that it's been around forever, and despite how much it seems we're moving ahead, it's still just one thing that just plagues us is the traditional like, I guess, stereotypes and prejudices that have been around for centuries still plague us to this day.
Yeah,
and
I think it's also,
it's just,
and I think the audience and whoever, I think we need to heavily consider, the dangers of gossip and assumption, and like we may think we know somebody, but I think it's really important that before we become friends with anyone, or before we assume what anyone says is true, that we truly understand the situation and truly understand the person. And I think, if we can allow, co-ed rooming in society, then we need to be able to do that as well as for this and many other things.
Assume makes an ass out of you and me.
Okay, well, we've had a great discussion, and I'd like to thank Branen and Sophia for coming on and doing this for us. And do you have any last comments?
Anything's good! Sorry.
I haven't anything of any great expression to say. So.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Say it again. Anything's good!
Definitely don't have anything of good expression to say.
That's good.
It's good today.
All right, it is good. It is good.
It's very good.
In the evening, my favorite thing to do is sit back with a cup of decaf and listen to relaxing, soft rock, inspirational, contemporary hits. And now they're all together on one CD, Soft Porridge. Just listen. If I fail, if I succeed, you can't take away my dignity, because the greatest love of all is happening to me.
Another song is like Hero, Smile, The Rose. That's what friends are for. Keep smiling, keep shining, knowing you can always count on me. For sure, that's what friends are for. Top of the world, hopelessly devoted to you. Feeling, wind beneath my wings. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And I can fly higher than an eagle, 'cause you are the wind beneath my wings. One sweet day, take a vow, can't stay away from you. Love lifts us up. Love lifts us up where we belong. Chances are, we've only just begun. Don't you make my brown eyes blue. Amigos para siempre. Amigos para siempre means you'll always be my friend. Amigos para siempre means a love that cannot end. I only have eyes for you. Smoke gets in your eyes. Song blue. Somewhere out there. Somewhere out there. If love can see us through, then we'll be together. Somewhere out there. Sweet Caroline, people, will you be there? And memories, along with many more.
It's available on CD, cassette, LP, and 8 tracks. So call and order Soft Porridge today.
And I will always love you. Okay. I just have to say that today's been a wonderful show with Sophia and Branen. But Bridgett, she wasn't here for all the skits, you know. I'm sorry, hun.
Because she's the track girl.
Yeah. She's gonna be like, whoo, whoo, you know, run after him. Whoo, whoo, whoo. Okay, I can stop now. But Yoda miss you. Beautiful, Bridgett. Let's sing the song. Now it's time to say goodbye to all our company. Porridge, Porridge TV.
Kevin, get away from me. Okay, now, they're gonna break some stuff.
Okay, now, warning, please. Give the warning.
Are we taping?
Yeah.
All right. This is in memory of Mark, who's like food is coming out the wrong end. He's got food poisoning, and Mike, he's in like Cleveland.
What? Where's he at?
Mike, he's in Cleveland. We're dedicating this show to him. Hey, Mark, we found your food.
Okay. Can we have a warning?
Oh, I just got crap on me. I see. It's gonna fall off. It's gonna
Oh my god!
You got white stuff on your. Okay, everybody left. Hey, we're gonna break this one back. Oh, you just got shit on me. What? All right, burn up. Stop taping. Mike, this is for
And we're clear.
No. It's not immortal after all. My man. So, all right, we're clear.
Hello, and I'm Roberta, and this is Dave, Kevin, and Frankie.
Frank.
But anyways, they were breaking stuff just a minute ago, and I like the TV part because it was cool. And plus, like, there's some people like yelling at us, "Hey, get the camera back over here!" And then they're like breaking stuff, and they're killing things and breaking stuff. And I'd like to ask them some questions. Stop it. Okay, Dave, do you do this a lot?
Yeah. Yeah.
Kevin, do you do this a lot? Frank, do you do this a lot?
Not as often as they do.
Oh, get the camera on me! Oh, yes it is. Aye, ma'am. Get away from me. Oh, that's with my legs. Anyways, I'm keeping my legs closed because Kevin's trying to kill me. And that's the end of my show. Like rocks. And they're scaring me.
Look at her.
Back on me. They're scaring me. And we have to clean up all this mess. My mom, she was like laughing hysterically over here. She thought it was pretty funny. But she's in the house now.
Get away from me.
Stop that. But anyway, that's the end of breaking things.